Imagine a truth buried for 7 centuries, hidden beneath layers of history and art. A queen ruled England while her husband waged war. Her legacy was quietly immense. The year is 1328. England is emerging from a period of chaos and murder. King Edward II was killed at Berkeley Castle, likely under orders from his own wife, Queen Isabella of France. She had rebelled against him, fled to Europe with her young son, and returned with an army to overthrow him. Now her teenage son sits on the throne as Edward III, just 16 years old, trying to hold together a fractured kingdom, but he does not rule alone. Standing beside him is his new bride, a 15-year-old girl from a region called Hainault in what is now Belgium. Her name is Philippa, soon to become one of England's most remarkable queens. To understand her story, we must understand the world she came from. Medieval Europe was far more diverse than history books and Hollywood portray. The Moorish Empire controlled vast territories across Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. They were not just conquerors, but intellectual powerhouses of their age. While much of Europe struggled in what is called the Dark Ages, Moorish scholars advanced mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and architecture. Their influence spread far beyond the Iberian Peninsula. Moorish nobility intermarried with European royal families. Trade routes carried not only goods, but people and cultures across the Mediterranean into the heart of Europe. European aristocratic bloodlines were more diverse than we have been led to believe. Philippa's father was William I, Count of Hainault, a wealthy and powerful lord whose land spanned modern-day Belgium, the Netherlands, and northern France. Her mother was Joan of Valois, a French princess and granddaughter of King Philip III of France. On paper, this appears to be a standard European noble marriage, but official records describe Philippa's appearance in a way that sparked debate for centuries. In 1326, when Philippa was just 9 years old, England's King Edward II sent Bishop Stapleton of Exeter to evaluate her as a potential bride for his son. This was not a romantic mission. It was strictly business. Royal marriages were political alliances, and the king needed a precise description of his future daughter. Bishop Stapleton's assessment survives to this day and is remarkably detailed. He described her hair as a mix of blue, black, and brown. Her eyes were blackish-brown and deep. Her nose was fairly smooth, yet broad at the tip, with nostrils that flared slightly. He noted her full lips, especially the lower one. Then he wrote something that echoed through history. She is brown of skin all over, much like her father. This was not a poetic expression or a reference to sun exposure. Bishop Stapleton was filing an official report for a king, recording her appearance with legal precision. The marriage went forward. In January 1328, 15-year-old Philippa married 16-year-old King Edward III at York. Unlike many foreign queens, she quickly embraced English culture. She learned English and won the hearts of the people with remarkable speed. Chroniclers praised her as gentle, liberal, and courteous, the ideal queen of her days. Philippa did not confine herself to castle life or needlework. She transformed England's economy using knowledge from her home region, Hainault, famous for textiles. She persuaded Edward to invite Flemish weavers to England, establishing textile production in Norwich. Within years, English cloth became one of the kingdom's primary sources of wealth. She also founded England's coal mining industry, opening new revenue streams. She guided England's economy from an agricultural base toward commercial power. All this while producing 12 children, securing the royal succession with 7 sons, surviving into adulthood. Perhaps her most extraordinary moment came in 1346. Edward III was campaigning in France during what would become the 100 Years' War. He left Philippa as regent, giving her complete authority over England. At that moment, Scotland invaded. King David II crossed the border with a massive army. Philippa did not panic or wait for Edward's return. She assembled an English army herself and rode to confront the Scottish threat. Before the Battle of Neville's Cross, she delivered a speech that inspired her troops. The English won decisively. King David II was captured and imprisoned. Philippa had proven she was not only queen by marriage, but a ruler, a strategist, and a military leader. Another story reveals her compassion. In 1347, after Edward III besieged the French city of Calais, he intended to execute 6 leading citizens. Philippa, 9 months pregnant, pleaded for their life. Edward could not refuse her. The men were spared. This moment, immortalized in art and literature as the burghers of Calais, demonstrated her moral authority. So why does this matter to the question of Philippa's racial identity? Despite her transformative reign and decisive acts, her appearance was systematically erased. No contemporary portraits survive. Images created posthumously depict her as pale and typically European. Her tomb effigy at Westminster Abbey has been repeatedly altered, with restorations lightening her features. Descriptions in medieval manuscripts were edited over time. Words like brown and dark were removed or changed. By the Victorian era, when racial theories were used to justify empire, Philippa had been completely whitewashed from history. Then there is her eldest son, Edward, Prince of Wales. He led English armies to victory in France and became known as the Black Prince. The official explanation is that he wore black armor, yet many knights wore black armor. Contemporary accounts suggest the name referred to his darker appearance, inherited from his mother. The nickname stuck so firmly that, even today, 600 years later, everyone knows him as the Black Prince. That's not the kind of nickname you earn from armor alone. It reflects something essential about who he was. In 2003, the organization behind the 100 Great Black Britons project included Queen Philippa on their list, ranking her 5th. The backlash was immediate and intense. British historians lined up to denounce the decision. They claimed there was no evidence. They insisted the idea was absurd. But what they truly rejected was the evidence that did exist. Bishop Stapleton's report was dismissed or rationalized away. The Black Prince's nickname was reduced to a reference to his armor. They argued that genealogical connections to Moorish nobility through Spanish and Portuguese royal lines were too distant to matter. The question is not whether evidence exists. The evidence is undeniable. The question is why so many historians fight to deny it. If Philippa had Moorish ancestry, if she was black or mixed race, everything changes. Every English monarch since 1328 descends from her. That includes every single one without exception. The Tudor dynasty, Henry VIII and Elizabeth I, descended from Philippa. The Stuart kings, the Hanoverian monarchs, Queen Victoria, Edward VII and VIII, Elizabeth II, and now King Charles III, Prince William and his children. The entire British royal family traces its lineage directly to Queen Philippa of Hainault. If she had African ancestry, then so does every member of the British royal family today. This is not a minor footnote in history. It challenges centuries of carefully constructed mythology about pure European bloodlines and white racial superiority. The DNA question looms over this debate. Philippa's remains lie in Westminster Abbey, preserved in her magnificent tomb. Modern DNA analysis could trace her ancestry with precision. It could confirm or disprove Moorish heritage once and for all. The technology exists. Scientists have extracted and analyzed DNA from medieval remains before. It is routine by modern standards. So why has it not been done? The royal family and the Church of England, which controls Westminster Abbey, have refused all requests. They claim it as a matter of respect and sanctity. But consider this. If the answer was obviously that Philippa was purely European, wouldn't testing end the controversy immediately? Wouldn't it vindicate their position and silence critics? The refusal to allow testing suggests they are uncertain about the outcome. Science could resolve this debate tomorrow, yet they prevent it. Ask yourself, why? Philippa's story is part of a larger pattern of historical erasure. Medieval Europe was far more diverse than we are taught. Moors, Africans, Arabs, and people of mixed heritage lived across the continent. They were not merely slaves or servants. They were nobles, scholars, merchants, artists, and rulers. But beginning in the colonial era, especially during the Victorian Age, European empires justified global dominance through racial superiority theories. This diversity became inconvenient. History was portraits were painted over. Manuscripts were edited. The medieval world was reimagined as exclusively white, a civilization that never truly existed. This false history is what we inherited. It is what we see in movies and television, where every medieval European is white. It is what textbooks present as truth. Questioning it feels radical because the lie is so deeply ingrained. Queen Philippa died on August 15, 1369, at the age of 55. She suffered from dropsy, now known as edema, which caused immense pain in her final years. King Edward III was devastated by her death. He never truly recovered. The once great warrior king seemed to lose his spirit entirely. He commissioned a beautiful sculpture for her tomb at Westminster Abbey, where she rests to this day. He ensured she would be remembered, honored, and celebrated. What he could not prevent was the systematic erasure of crucial aspects of her identity by later generations. Oxford University's Queen's College was founded in her honor by her chaplain, Robert D. Eagle. It stands as a testament to her enduring legacy. Though few today know her full story, the textile industry she introduced to England grew into a pillar of British economic power. During the Industrial Revolution, the coal mining she initiated fueled that same revolution. Her descendants ruled England for centuries, building the largest empire the world had ever seen. Every achievement, every victory, every moment of British history, from 1328 onward, flows from the woman described as brown of skin all over. So, was Queen Philippa black? We cannot know with absolute certainty, and perhaps we never will. without DNA testing. But we do know this. A trusted bishop described her as brown-skinned with distinctive features, not typical in Europe. Her genealogy includes multiple possible connections to Moorish nobility through Spanish and Portuguese royal inter. Her son was called the Black Prince, a name that persisted for centuries. Powerful institutions have spent hundreds of years ensuring this question could not be properly investigated. Records were edited, scientific analyses refused, and critics attacked. The evidence remains. The questions remain. Bishop Stapleton's report survives in archives. Genealogical connections are documented. The systematic whitewashing of her image is undeniable. You have access to the same information historians do. Examine the evidence. Consider why it has been suppressed. Decide for yourself what to believe. Philippa was extraordinary, intelligent, compassionate, and brave. She transformed England's economy. She ruled as regent. She led armies. She showed mercy to defeated enemies. She raised a family that shaped European history for generations. She was loved by her people, respected by her enemies, and mourned deeply when she died. These facts cannot be disputed or erased. Her greatness transcends questions of racial identity. Yet those questions matter precisely because powerful actors worked so hard to prevent answers. History is written by the powerful, but truth survives. It survives in official reports filed by bishops who had no reason to lie. It survives in nicknames that endure for centuries. It survives in genealogical records, tracing bloodlines across continents. It survives in portraits painted over, but never destroyed. It survives in unanswered questions and denied tests. 700 years of erasure could not eliminate the evidence that Queen Philippa's identity challenged future generations. So the next time someone claims medieval Europe was only white, remember Queen Philippa. Remember the queen who ruled England, won battles, transformed the economy, and changed history. Remember how diligently they worked to erase her. Remember that the history they hide is often the history that matters most. Whether Philippa was black or not, the controversy itself reveals something essential. History, as we have been taught, is incomplete at best and deliberately falsified at worst. Truth does not require protection, only lies do. And after 700 years, Philippa's story still refuses to be silenced. That alone tells you how important it is.